Kerry Washington and Omar Sy are two assassins trying to survive. They're trying to protect their son from evil men. Mark Strong's leading a giant group of them. Method Man is in this. I didn't even know that man was still alive. No, I didn't. And Kerry and Omar are fighting to survive with some skills that they developed in this secret government agency called Shadow Force. Simply called Shadow Force, which is one of the worst streaming to theatrical release movies I've ever goddamn seen. Who goddamn funded this? What Lion Gates executives suddenly said, we want to make sure that we money launder the fuck out of people? What the fuck was this supposed to be? This movie doesn't even look like it would pass for 1995. Terrible green screen effects, equally terrible dialogue. Kerry Washington, Omar Sy, and everybody involved in this, even the kid, need new agents. How dare you, Lionsgate's executives? Lionsgate, whatever, can't even factor in the right way to pronounce the goddamn studio. They don't deserve to be called by their actual goddamn name, because you know what? They deserve to have lions sent to their gate, or a lion sent to their gates. The Gates of Agony. No, the Gates of Agony are a tag team in AEW. What am I on about? I'll tell you what I'm on about. Shadow Force. Basically, you have Kerry Washington, who is incredibly gifted, incredibly talented, incredibly attractive, fucking ageless. Omar Sy, if you don't know who the fuck he is, he was in The Killer. He is a very French man. He is a very good actor. They also need to get him subtitles because, bless him, his English is good, the accent is thick. And also, Jahil Kamara, who was in Nanny, that Amazon original that was a little bit weird. Not bad, a little bit weird. So if you notice, I am not saying anything about the actual character names because none of the character names actually matter. Mark Strong is in this. Mark Strong, who is a terrific character actor. Fucking terrific. Decades worth of experience. What is he doing in this? Who forced him at gunpoint to do this? Divine Joy Rant. Why is Divine Joy Randolph in this? From The Holdovers. I mean, she was in The Lost City also, but yes, Method Man. Method Man, the Grim Reaper's calling for this man's career at this point. It's not Judgment Day. We're not going to let the countdown begin. Bet you didn't expect me to quote Method Man in this. He's actually not a bad actor, but whatever. Ed Quinn is in this. Natalia Reyes, and you know what? Do you really care at this point what the plot is? Basically, Kerry Washington and Omar Sy, they were part of this group called Shadow Force. Then they end up having a kid, and then Mark Strong comes after them for reasons I will talk about in the spoiler section where I'm just going to rip this movie apart more. I did not expect much when I saw this trailer, but I'm like, okay, that's a joke. Where's the real trailer? You can't tell me that's the real trailer. It's like they didn't even put this thing through any goddamn editing. Which is weird because there's so many cutaways. I mean any proper editing. And I will give you an example. There are fire effects in this that don't even look like they would belong on Windows Movie Maker 95. Which wouldn't even run on like a, much of a computer like after a few years. But people still would use it. So anyway, an estranged couple. And we find out why they're estranged. I don't mind simple stories. I don't mind things that are just so baseline if you have something entertaining to justify it. But no, stuff just occurs. Oh, how do these spies have all these things set up? Movie magic. Why in the world are all these people, these endless supplies of villains just suddenly able to find them, but they're all so inept that they get killed? Movie magic. Why is Lionel Richie's music licensed in this? Money. Lionsgate apparently said, we're just going to keep doing this. Lionsgate really does deserve all the shit that they've gotten, by the way, for, like, The Crow in particular, and also for what the fuck did they... Borderlands. They did Borderlands. That's right. I forgot that. You made me hate a movie with goddamn Cate Blanchett and Jamie Lee Curtis in it. How fucking dare you? You didn't have to make me hate a movie with Kevin Hart in it because I can't stand Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart, thankfully, is nowhere near this, or I might have actually set the screen on fire. Which is weird because I used to work at that movie theater. That being said, yeah, you just get assassins attacking, you get people being stupid, you have this plot that's simplistic, yet also just completely ridiculous. You have character motivations changing. You also have character motivations that are so obvious that it is literally like they just took the very basis of any spy action movie and said, okay, now we're going to cut it down by 50%. we're going to give no, like, like background to these characters. I mean, outside of like a little bit of like one song meaning something to Kerry Washington and Omar Sy's characters. Isaac and Kira, I think are their names. Whatever, it's fine. The kid has a couple funny lines. I will admit that. If there's one thing that got over me, at least the kid has a couple funny lines. Then there are times where the kid's really super goddamn annoying. And I'm like, boy, I regret saying good things about this character. Not the kid, but the character. Mark Strong, I felt so bad for him. This had to have been a paycheck movie. Like Michael Caine in Jaws the Revenge. That's basically what this is. This has to be Jaws. This is Jaws the Revenge for action movies. And by the way, the person that directed this, I didn't even say that. I just launched into the whole thing. The person that directed this did the A-Team live-action movie where Rampage Jackson thought that he should be an actor. Smoking Aces and The Gray. I would have rather fought some goddamn wolves and died and been torn apart than, watch this again. There was another guy named Leon Chills that did The Wilds. Put every Lionsgate executive that funded this into The Wilds. Apparently, Kerry Washington herself helped produce this. And Kerry is a tremendous actress, and she looks incredible. I mean, absolutely, she's looked incredible for years, don't get me wrong. My God. My God. There is a line in this is before I get to the spoilers, where Mark Strong's character says, thank God for bespoke tailoring. Now, I don't know if that's actually just something made up for the movie, or if bespoke tailoring is actually a thing. I didn't bother to look it up because I didn't care. But that's actually something that it's almost like putting Sunny D in front of how Wayne's World made fun of, like, the advertising and stuff like that and whatever, and some comedies have made fun of that, and that's all I gotta say about that. That's what I'm doing with my notes. This Shadow Force is terrible. And there's like one thing about Omar Sy's character that I think could have actually worked, and had they had any ingenuity behind it, like, if this hadn't been taken over by AI, because there's no way actual people made this. There's no way. This thing had to have sat on the shelf for a couple of years. Because I have a very hard time believing that this thing got filmed very recently, and they said, yeah, that's okay, we'll put this thing out. It is in theaters for probably not a very long time, and then on streaming at some point. But wait till it's free. 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. Omar Sy's character can't hear. So he takes his earbuds out, and suddenly he has incredibly heightened senses. He explains to his son, like, how Daredevil doesn't have his eyesight, but he has great hearing and all that. Bullseye, you know that? Yeah, he's like Daredevil, but deaf. Deaf Devil, like, cool, okay, and he just is able to do this stuff, which, by the way, ends up catching him. He gets caught on, like, video, breaking up this bank robbery, stopping this bank robbery. And now he's been found, and his son's been found and everything. Oh, yeah, and Kerry Washington, by the way, is his wife, who would not want to go to the ends of the earth for Kerry Washington. I mean, seriously, look at her. Look at her, look and admire her. But from a distance, by the way, let's be respectful, people, but she is beautiful. And Omar Sy is a very, very accomplished actor. You can take a look at his IMDb page. He knows what he's doing. He's just very French, so it's just very hard to understand him sometimes. I'm not even knocking him. But Kerry Washington has been taking people out. We see her take somebody out with a goddamn sniper rifle at a high-rise building, and then suddenly it turns out that the reason they did this, and I'm just skipping ahead of a whole lot of this stuff because there's flashbacks and forward backs and stuff like that, and fullbacks and halfbacks and running backs in motion. This thing needed to be like a running back and run straight into a goddamn brick wall repeatedly. In fact, that's what I felt like doing within the first 10 minutes of this, because this was abysmal. And essentially, Kerry Washington's been going after the Shadow Force while he protects the son. The son who has developed a love of Lionel Richie, especially one particular song, because that was the song at Kerry Washington and Omar Sy's wedding. Okay, that's kind of sweet. It doesn't really fucking go anywhere. And yes, he does the thing with the hearing aids a couple times. And that might have worked. It was a neat little idea, but it didn't go anywhere. Mark Strong's character, by the way, is like some secret secretary of the state of the CIA, FBI, MSNBC, KK, 123, C3PO, I don't know. He basically created the Shadow Force brought these people together to take these people down, brought this $50 million bounty on, well, $25 million on each one, or maybe $50 million on each one. I didn't bother to really care. And the reason he did this is because him and Kerry Washington were together briefly, and then she spurned him, and he did this Shadow Force thing basically to get back at her. Or brought the people from Shadow Force to get back at her. I really don't honestly care about the minutia of this thing. And so they get into this hideout, and Kerry Washington finds him. She explains that she's the kid's mother because he hasn't seen her in a while. And by the way, I don't think they show a flashback of when the kid was almost an infant. The kid's not that young. I mean, I'm not saying that the kid's probably older than the role he's playing, but still, like, it doesn't matter. It's okay. Apparently, it takes place in Florida or somewhere. At least our Florida license plates. I have a feeling that this is taking place somewhere where they can get better permits to film shit. Cheaper permits, I mean, like the Caribbean and stuff like that. There also is Divine Joy Randolph, who is an aunt, and then the uncle is Method Man. And how were these two able to be found? Well, it turns out that somebody very close to them has broken their trust. I'm going to spoil who it is, because fuck you, it's a spoiler section. It's Method Man. Of course, it would be Method Man. How dare you, you old rapper? I don't think he raps anymore. I think he's really, I think he decided to take a chance on not rapping anymore. I can't name any Chance the Rapper songs. I just saw somebody make that reference on Twitter and decided to go with it because that sounded good. So, I'm also 44 years old and white, so don't expect me to know much rap outside of, like, maybe, I don't know, past 2005, maybe 2007. So, it turns out he was doing that because he wants to get money. Because Mark Strong apparently has endless amounts of money. There are two agent guys that he beats up that are underneath him. He beats them in an office, but rehires them because they're going to go to this island, Paradise. It's a very nice island, Paradise, and I'm sure Lionsgate's executives probably decided to just have, all kinds of money laundering coke parties at, allegedly, covering my ass here. There's no other reason why you would spend anything on this. And we get this part where Kerry Washington tries to shoot, Mark Strong. Maybe Mark Strong was in a movie she didn't like. But he was wearing a bulletproof vest. That's where he says, thank God for bespoke tailoring. Not Box of Awesome, not that stuff. That's a deep cut for the Cornet podcast fans that might be watching this. And Omar Sy got captured, along with the kid, because it turned out Method Man, turned on him. Divine Joy Randolph decides, I'm going to get very, very upset, and I'm going to eventually snap. So these two guys that Mark Strong's character beat up earlier, Luell Cinderblock, they eventually decide to turn on him, but it's like two against a lot of other people that are in there. But all this exposition gets dumped out about that's what, Kerry Washington says, that's why he did this, because I spurned him. I mean, it's relatable if a beautiful woman spurns you that you'd want to maybe, I don't know, shove it in her face, which really sounded a lot less dirty in my head when I said it, so let's just move on, always get consent. But they still go along with this. We get explosions. One guy blows up when a barbecue pit is shot, or barbecue tank. Another girl gets shot after she stabs a guy because the guy manages to shoot her in the head. One of the guys is dead. One of the guys that Mark Strong beat up that turned on everybody and did this because they were agents that were turning on their boss for what, I don't know. I hate it. And I want Lionsgate executives that did this to just I want you to have the worst possible goddamn time explaining yourself here. They need to be run up on war crimes for what they have done to film recently. So that means, and they did Hurry Up Tomorrow, apparently, which, my God, I gotta watch that next week. Anyway, so the whole point is Shadow Force ends with big old shootout. There was this thing earlier where when they were at the safe house, they did this bullet thing where, his bullets were just a little bit off. Like a little bit off center. Not that it was enough to kill people, but it was still off center. She was able to do it in one shot. Then they explained that, the last time that happened, when she was, held hostage, he managed to shoot her in the shoulder. That's the only thing he could aim for. Now they only have a couple bullets. He has 2 bullets. She has 1 bullet. And she wants the other bullet because she feels she's the better shot. If you feel you're the better shot, why would you need 2 bullets? Maybe it's in case he missed. The whole point is, Mark Strong's character is holding. So pretty much everybody's like dead at this point. Everybody except Divine Joy Randall, which is good. And the kid's not dead. And one of the guys that I don't remember his name, and I don't really care. It might have been Ed Quinn's character. I don't actually really remember if that was Ed Quinn. Because I know the actor, but God forbid, so much of this movie is so unremarkably unmemorable. I was struggling to remember anything about it on the way home. So there's this thing where, is he going to shoot her in the shoulder? What's he going to do? He manages to summon the courage, does the hearing aid thing, focuses, and shoots Mark Strong. And then she gets the gun with the other 2 bullets, shoots him. He doesn't have the bulletproof vest on anymore, by the way. Now he gets a gun and shoots him, so a lot of bullets are flying. And then, now, Divine, her character, Auntie, she's going to start Shadow Force 2.0. Don't you dare do a sequel. Don't you dare, Lionsgate. I fucking hope that something bad happens to y'all if you're going to do that. I hope y'all are replaced by goddamn robots that would make better decisions, because they can't make any worse decisions than you have. Yeah, that's it. What was Shadow Force supposed to be? It wasn't entertaining, that's for sure. Yeah, it was really, really bad. F. I think this will have to be at least in the top 10 worst of the year. If it's not, I am in for a very rough rest of 2025. So agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm Charles Ritlin. I'll see you soon.